Hello and welcome to another video, or welcome if you're new. My name is Kaylee. I'm a creative artist sharing my art on YouTube. Um, yeah, so this is week number 5 of the Art This Week series. If you haven't seen any of the other videos, I would definitely recommend you go back and have a look. There's some really cool stuff. This week I have done mainly work in my sketchbook, but with one large piece, as you can see behind. Um, it's a little bit different. Each of the weeks is a little bit different. I think I started off the series doing individual pieces and then going in with my sketchbook, but it's all just part of the process of what I'm doing, how I'm feeling, what's catching my attention, where my passions lie. Um, it just so happens that this week has mostly been in my sketchbook, I think because a lot of it is on location. So I'm going to start with this one. This is the only loose piece of art that I've done this week, and it's a little bit of an experiment. So I did have this ink, and I recently sorted out all of my art supplies to find out what I wanted to keep and what I wanted to donate. And these came up, and I just had this thought of this. I just wondered if I could use them in any other kind of way. So I thought, maybe I'll keep them. I'll try and experiment with them. Can I paint with them? Can I mix them with my watercolor paints? And how they would react with like water or like pencil going over the top. I guess I hadn't experimented with these inks in that way. I think before when I used them, it was for mainly writing or like little tiny little patterns, but never mixed with anything. So here's the art piece. It's not, I don't hate it, but I also don't love it. I think you can tell that I gave up with certain parts of it. I think because of the lightness, like it's so bright. The green emerald ink was so bright. And I think I struggled with what to pair and put on top of it. I kept it quite loose, and I think that helped, but I definitely want to have another go and see if, like, maybe if I mix the inks together to make like the perfect tone of green or something like that. Um, I think that would maybe be a bit better. I was also playing with mixing the green with the red, and I'll show you here. Um, Mixing that green emerald ink, which is that's it there, that's the color it is straight out of the box, and then mixing it with red to get these different tones of brown. I think that that's a really nice range that you can get just from using those two colors. And with the ink being a liquid as well, being able to mix that in and not making it too watery and it's still changing the color was really interesting. I would like to do some more experiments with the green and maybe using the other colors of ink as well to mix together to make like go-to colors maybe, but that'll be something for the future. So I'm going to go back over to my sketchbook now. This has been so handy, especially when I've been out and about painting on location, sort of just putting it in a backpack with paints and pencils and away I go. It's been really good to get back into that habit as well. So I'm going to start off with this painting on the left. So this is from a place in the Lake District, a nice walk that we like to do quite regularly. It was from a photograph. I painted this afterwards, and it's of my daughter walking along the path, and we were walking behind with the trees and everything. It was a really nice photo, and I thought maybe I'll try and paint it, but I think the way that I went about it, because I was a bit anxious about drawing the person, held me back a little bit. I'm not very good at painting people. Well, I say I'm not very good at it. I just don't do it much. I bet if I practiced, that's something, but maybe that'll be something that I'll do in the future. But right now, people are something that I just stay away from. I just focus on the landscapes. The other side is an acrylic painting, and it's like a really cheap acrylic that you can mix with water as well. But I love the textures of it. I love that it has like a little bit of a sheen, and it was just something that I just had in my head and wanted to have it down. The contrast between the two pages as well is something that I really enjoy. Um, just wanted to paint some daisies, and they're really chunky, very large daisies. Some leaves with the blue background. I think they're really nice. This next page is going back to the watercolor and pencil. I think this was a little challenge that I gave myself using references from my books. And I think I gave myself either 1, 3, or 5 minutes for these just to get the colours and the shapes without trying to be too realistic and adding in the detail. And I think this is a really good practice. This really helped me to be more precise with picking my colours and more intentional, and not to go in with a colour and then have to go over the top of it. It really made me think about, well, okay, this is dark. I'll put down a dark colour and sort of work my way from there. I think this has really helped me with selecting colours, and I hope I don't paint over these, because I think that although they're not up to like the standard of like, a finished piece, they're in a sketchbook and it's part of the practice of learning, and I do really like them. This next one is from Rydal Water. This is a place that we like to visit in the Lake District, and it is so pretty. This was painted on location, so this was my view while the kids were like off playing, and there was so many people there with like picnics and like enjoying the water, either swimming or we took our little dinghy, which I've drawn in this bottom tile here, and lots of people go there to either kayak or paddleboard. It's a lovely big open space of water, but then there's also like lots of places for people to sit and to have picnics and things like that. I do really like this page, this spread. I think the bottom long tile was me collecting like the colours and sort of the layers. Remembering like in the distance it's a bit lighter, in the front it's a bit darker. But I remember that I painted this middle panel first, so I've got some of the rocks in, I've got Goose Island, so this little mound that I'm pointing to now in the middle. We once rode over there in our little boat, and it was covered in geese, so many geese everywhere. And so we have forever known that, probably for about 2 years now. We've called it Goose Island, and it's like when we go, the kids are like, should we go over to Goose Island? And yeah, the geese aren't there all the time. You see them like all over the place on the lake. Um, I just think they just happened to be there that one time, and now it's Goose Island. um, but yeah, I really love this picture. I think that I have so many memories tied to this because I remember when I was painting it, the sounds, like the things that were happening, the people, and it's really beautiful to capture that, because it's not only the illustration, it's also the the memories that are encapsulated with it. So turning the page now and moving on to this one. This is also featured in its own little video, and it is another illustration on location in Waverdale Park. I actually really love this one, but I remember at the time, and if you watch that video, you'll see I did struggle with it a little bit. Uh, I sort of felt like I went in too confident, I went in too hard, and I went in with these really dark colours, and there was lots of people walking about, and I struggled a little bit, but it was really worth me staying and trying to fix it, because I learned a lot during this little painting session. And I will link the video in the description below. And I would really recommend going and watching it, because it's really important, especially if you are an artist and you want to get used to going out. Like, it's scary. It can be scary, but then when people talk to you, you're kind of building up that confidence. You're facing challenges head on. You can't just go and grab other art materials, because all you have is what you've taken out with you. And it might give you some motivation, some inspiration, it might give you some tools. I know that I got a little bit frustrated and I went for a little walk. I saw some really pretty, beautiful things, and then I came back and got it done. Um, but yeah, I would definitely recommend going and watching that video because looking back at this, I really love it. I can see exactly where I was. I can see like the darkness, the contrast, the flowers. I feel like I captured a lot more than I realized at the time, and I think that that's really important. And I'm so glad that it's in my sketchbook so I can keep looking at it, and just show myself, look, I did this, I fixed it. I thought I'd ruined it with the first little bits of paint, but fixed it. The pencil definitely really helped, and I think you can see the style coming through. Okay, so going back again to Rydal Water. This is another one that I painted on location the same time as this one, and I really love it. I think maybe I did this big one first and then that one second. Yeah, because I think sometimes when I go in the first time, it's very loose, very rough, and also slightly reserved with the colours. And then I think the second time I always go in with a little bit more confidence. I really enjoy the tiny little boats that I've put in here. There was people like out on kayaks and paddle boards and all sorts, and I just chose to capture these little boats that were really catching my eye because they were like this really rich blue, and it was so nice, the contrast against the green. Um, yeah, I really enjoy this one. I feel like it's a lot of fun. It's very loose, and it also has memories tied to it of like being there. I definitely also feel that there's a really strong sense of style coming through, which is new. Um, I think that with me honing in on this practice and making sure that I'm drawing as often as possible, almost every day, I think flicking through you can see the amount of style and practice and all these different things that are all coming together, and I'm really enjoying that. I think I forgot to show this page earlier. So this is another painting from Rydal Water. And I painted this one in the car on the way home, sort of remembering, uh, what I'd seen. And it was really interesting looking through photographs to like inform this one, how much the light changed throughout, and that might explain some of the color differences, which is really interesting because you kind of forget when you're in the moment that the light will change when you're on location. But yeah, that is all of the artwork that I've done this week. I think that there's a lot of on location stuff. It doesn't have to be anything amazing every time, but let's just go through. So we've got these two, we've got the acrylic one, the watercolor painting, then we've got another watercolor one, which is really light in comparison to all the others, but it's fine. Um, some little color challenges, the 1, 3, and 5 minute challenges, and then another on location. I'm enjoying drawing these boxes out and just being able to fill them. I might come back and use some of the space at the top of that page again. Here's my Waverdale Park one. I think this might be my favourite one from the week. And then moving on to my Rydal Water illustration. I really love this one too. I think there are differences in all of the paintings, even though it's from the same place. I love the richness of this blue on these boats, really caught my eye. I'm so glad that I added those in. But yeah, I think that is all of the work that I had done this week. Oh, and this one. This is the one that I showed right at the beginning, the experiment with the ink. And then the rest are in my sketchbook. And I think that that's absolutely fine. I think the fact that they're in my sketchbook is more that I was on location, I was going to these places, and I think that that's absolutely fine. I could just throw it in my backpack with paint, pens, anything that I want, and just go. I am at about halfway through this sketchbook, and it would be really interesting to see how quickly I could finish the rest. I do have another of the same sketchbook lined up for when this one is finished, so that would be exciting. The next one is bright yellow, and I think that that would be really cool. These are the Talons Art Creation sketchbooks. I don't think you can see. Um, it has a logo on the bottom. But with this one, it was just a brown color and I painted it. I kind of made it look moldy by accident, but then I just sprayed it, flicked some paint on it, just really got messy with it and stuck some stickers on. It did get wet. There was an accident where water leaked in a bag and it got wet, so it has expanded a little bit on the bottom. And I'm just trying to figure out the best way to fix it. So if you've got any suggestions, that would be amazing. I don't want to just like put tape over it. I kind of want to keep it looking pretty. But yeah, all of these stickers are available in my shop, and I want to continue filling it up with more of my own stickers. I think that is really nice. You can definitely see some of these in um, some of my Art This Week videos as well. If you want to have a look through, definitely check those out as well. And I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Bye.